So I've not done one of these recorded Zooms in a while. To reintroduce myself, I'm Claire Venus and I coordinate the Culture Northumberland project on behalf of Northumberland County Council and some other partners as well, like North East Cultural Freelancers. And today I'm joined by Corinne, who is going to tell us all about this new fantastic programme that you can get involved in. The deadline is quite tight, so we wanted to just jump on and make it really clear how you can get involved, what it's all about, and just push this out as far as possible. So if you're seeing this and you want to tag someone in or share it on social media, we would really appreciate it because we want to make sure that the programme is really well utilised and we get lots of fabulous artists and creatives engaging. So over to Corinne.
Thanks so much, Claire. I really appreciate you having me on. So excited about this project. I've been working on the plan for it for months now, and really excited to help as many creatives as possible. The main program is called Commercialise Without Compromise, and it was an idea that I had a while ago about all the things that I wish I had at my disposal when I first started my creative business. I transitioned from being an artist into kind of a retail brand, and I had to learn everything from scratch, and it was really difficult. And I obviously, for so many creators, when you're moving across and you're trying to commercialize your practice, there are a number of things you have to consider. So, for example, what are my ethical values? Do I want to be sustainable? Do I want something that's going to complement my practice rather than take over my practice? Have I got limited finance? So how can I actually commercialize my practice without putting myself at financial risk? Do I have caring responsibilities that I need to take in consideration when I'm building this part of my practice, because I don't want something to dominate my life so that I can't manage it? And the first session we have is open to everyone who's north of the Tyne, so Northumberland, North Tyneside and Newcastle. And that's just because of the funding that we've accessed. We'd love to open it up to everyone, but we have certain restrictions on the funding that we've accessed to deliver this. So everyone north of the Tyne is eligible for the whole programme. But in the first session, what we're doing is we're bringing as many people together as possible to work out if commercialising their practice is for them, to give them some clear examples of how they can commercialise their practice and different ways in which they could commercialise it. So it could be that you want to make a physical product, so you're a painter and you want to make greetings cards, but we can talk about how to limit risk if you are going to go down that route. It could be that you're a painter and you want to teach people how to paint in a certain way, and that's a skill that you're sharing, but that is something that you could make money from. So there's lots of different ways in which you can commercialize what you do. I mean, if you're a creative business or an organization or even a musician who wants to start thinking about merchandising their, products and making t-shirts or bags or whatever it is, that again would be the sort of person that we want to engage with. And organizations that are creative, if there's ways in which you want to commercialize what you do, but within the bounds of your values and your team limitations and things like that, then you're perfect for this. We've extended the deadline to the 19th of April before midnight. So that's next Wednesday for people to apply. And if you have any neurodiversity issues in filling out forms, I think there should be some support for you that's documented within the form. But if not, please get in touch with me and I'll point you in the right direction. The programme itself is run in partnership with Newcastle University Business School, and the extended training beyond the first session will be a mixture of face-to-face and online. And face-to-face wise, it's all going to be at Newcastle University Business School. And that's great in terms of transport links for people that are in Northumberland specifically, because the Newcastle University Business School is very close to Central Station. It's within walking distance, so that will hopefully help people. But I can talk to you more about the kind of the training that we're delivering beyond the first session if that's of interest.
Yeah, I think people would be really interested in knowing like what the commitment is, like how many hours of that time should they be committing to, and can they work on something live in the session? So say if it was me, for example, I've created 2 creativity and wellbeing journals in the past, and they're pretty much shelved now. They kind of had a run and I learned loads, but really I just feel like, oh, I've got too many other things on. So say if it was me coming along, I'd be thinking, okay, like what is the potential for these journals, and like is it really useful, and really is it going to be worth my time, like committing to I don't know how many hours, 10 hours, 20 hours, 30 hours to put into just 2 journals? Do people have to have like a real passion of a commercial arm to what they're making? What do you think?
Okay, so the way we've designed it, I am dyslexic and on a register to be assessed for ADHD. So I'm all about interactive training. So for the first session that we do with everyone, we're going to have a very interactive session, going to encourage people to bring in products that they've already made. Some people might not have nothing, they just might have an idea. We're going to be doing some brainstorming around, you know, whether or not commercializing your practice is right for you, and cover all of those elements that I just previously discussed. So it'll be a really great session for people to come out feeling, no, commercialization isn't for me, or yes, I really want to do this. Then we've got a selection criteria, and we're going to take 15 people from that group through to the main training. The main training is all going to be interactive. So during those sessions, I've given the brief to everyone delivering their sessions that people have to have tangible outcomes from those sessions. So for example, we'll work with you to write an about us piece of copy, and then we'll teach you how to use an app, which will get you to use a teleprompter to be able to read to camera your about us text, and then you can use that video and put it on your about us website page. So you'll have a piece of content you can use on social media and different things. Now I understand that that could feel a little bit daunting, but it's a very safe space for people to do things that they haven't done before, and we'll talk you through it, and it's your choice as to whether or not you use that content after the session or you redo it. We're also working with someone on SEO. So you're going to get some really good knowledge around SEO and how to use that if you're selling online. I'm going to be doing things like a sales and marketing strategy with people, and we'll sit down with calendars and we will plan your sales and marketing strategy for anywhere between a month to 6 months, so that you can actually work out, okay, if I was to produce a product, how long would it take me to manufacture? When do I need to start promoting it? When do I need to launch it? And things like that. So you'll have a clear timeline of how you're going to manage that. We're going to work with a portrait photographer. So you'll all have professional headshots for LinkedIn, for your social media, for if you do an about me post or anything like that. So all of the sessions, you'll have tangible outcomes. So we've designed them so that you won't have to take time out of your business in order to attend. You will be working on your business in the session, because I'm acutely aware that as a small business owner, especially if you're a sole trader, you get extreme overwhelm, especially when you do sessions, you think, oh, I've got loads of homework to do now. We want you to not feel that way. We want you to have things that you come out of the session with. There's so many more elements to the overall program, and what I'll do, Claire, is I'll provide you with a link so that people can see what we cover in each session and how long each session is, so they know how many hours they're committing to it. But what I would say to you is that you would be doing this work anyway outside of this supportive community, and I would suggest that actually it's time well invested, because at the end of it, we're going to have an event in November where everyone will come together and they'll put into practice everything they've learned, so they can really reap the rewards and benefits of it, engage with a wider community, hopefully make some sales, but also build their network. And we did pop-up primer before, and what I would say is one of the really positive outcomes from that was that all the creatives felt really supported by the group that they were working with, and felt less alone, because it can be so isolating working on your own on your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know for a lot of the creatives that I've mentored in the past, they've had these kind of bubbling ups of ideas around making something and bringing it to market, but it just feels such an overwhelming process. So this sounds absolutely perfect. You've gone through all of the motions, like you've got an incredible range on your website. I've been on there and it's gorgeous what you've created. You've kind of been through that and you've learned loads of those lessons yourself. And then so you're there as a peer mentor to share as well. I think also, as a creative coming out of the pandemic, and I know we're sort of well out of it, but the sessions that we attended together where there was other creatives in the room, those coffee break chats were like the gold, weren't they? Just being with each other and being able to say, oh, well, I've been doing this, like, have you tried this? Are you doing this? How much, are you spending on social media? What's working for you? Just being able to have that time with each other when you're working in, as a company of one, you don't get that very much, do you? So that is also really, really valuable and will be a really nice part of the program.
Absolutely, 100%. I think that peer-to-peer support, like you said, is really important, and all of the trainers that are part of it, people, we've got Anne English, who deals with visual merchandising, Sue Todd, who's a professional photographer, will help you, Lauren McWilliams, who's a brand photographer, myself, Helen Bowman, and we've got Michelle Jones from Kind Currency, who will be doing the event at the end, and we've got Rachel from mayfly.co, she will be there as well to help with the SEO. All of these people have been through that small business journey and they're there to help support you. And then we've got Fiona Whitehurst and Joe Singh from Newcastle University Business School who will be leading. And what I would say is I've been through some of the Captured for Creative programs that Fiona Whitehurst has run. And the wonderful thing about them is they're a very gentle space for creatives to be in, very nurturing and encouraging, and we're all about empowering creators with the tools to make their small businesses a success. But we're also mindful of the reality around post-pandemic is that people are working smarter, not harder, and they're trying to work in a way that actually supports their mental and physical health, as opposed to reaching burnout and then finding, that they're really struggling. And let's face it, the funding landscape has changed massively for creatives, and there just isn't the funding out there that we would all love to be able to use. So giving yourself a little bit of financial autonomy around your small business and commercializing in a way that works for you is definitely a step in the right direction, so that you're not necessarily always adhering to the tick box in the funding application process. You're creating the pieces that you want to create, and you're learning how to build a community around your creativity who want to support you. That's the kind of culture of this Commercialise Without Compromise program.
Yeah, it sounds absolutely brilliant. And just as you were talking there, I think that reality check of where we are, especially if we've been, 5, 10, 20, 25 years in the arts, heritage and culture landscape, it has changed a lot, but there is the opportunity. There's so many programs that you can use and so many brilliant technologies now that you can use to make your work come to life. And I think that for me, focusing on that a couple of years ago and realizing that sales can come in the middle of the night from the other side of the world, it just blew my mind. I was like, oh, actually, it's all high risk. But if you've built a kind of, I don't like that sort of side hustle term, because I feel like I'm very sort of consciously embodied in all of the things that I choose to do, but there's definitely a bit that kind of enables you to build up income and to test out ways of working and commercialize different ideas, whether it's your time or a digital product or a physical product, that changes everything and helps you feel more secure as a creative and helps you to feel like, actually, yes, I can sustain this career. It's certainly been my experience and some of my clients' experiences as well.
Yeah, I often find as well that people who work within creativity have to have another job that supplements their income so they can be creative. Part of me thinks, well, if we can support creatives to be able to justify spending more time in their studios actually being creative because they can earn money from it, rather than having perhaps a job that's completely unrelated to their creativity, then that would be great, because then the studios would be more populated with people being creative as opposed to supplementing income. But also I would say that there are within our creative wheelhouse of skills, transferable skills, that you could start thinking, actually, do I want to have a job in the arts, or do I want to have other, you know, can I work with other people, other organizations? Could I work with corporates that align with what I want to do, or charities, or, you know, is there another way of working that I've not explored yet that could be not necessarily product-based but service-based? And I think it's thinking clearly about how commercializing your practice can enhance the work you do as opposed to devalue it, which I think there is a culture within the arts where people are afraid of that commercialization process, because they think somehow it's going to devalue the work that they make. But the truth is that actually it will probably increase the value of what you do, and you'll be more in control of the projects that you do if you can think clearly about, what are my values, what are my non-negotiables, what is the compromise I'm not willing to make. And that's why the whole program's been developed, really, is to empower creatives to take control of their finances, but also the work that they carry out with other people. And they can quite easily then say, if someone approaches them to work with them, instead of chasing the money, go, actually, no, this is not the right partnership for me. And that, you know, is important, I think, for a lot of artists. I think there's definitely a place for art for art's sake, and that there should always be those protected spaces for creativity's sake. But there are also options and ways of, you know, helping people understand that they don't, that is a separate thing to commercializing your practice, you know, and making money from creativity shouldn't be seen as a bad thing. It should be seen as something that empowers the creative community to have that autonomy and be more sustainable and less reliant on very small pots of funding that everybody's competing for. Because we all know that going for those funding pots and 500 to 1,000 people applying for them, the amount of time and energy you put into a grant application only to be given very little feedback on why you weren't successful is absolutely demoralizing, and it can actually stop you from being creative. So let's find ways in which we can empower creatives to be vibrant, successful, financially stable, and have more creativity in our society, because we need it more than ever, I think.
Yeah, definitely, in terms of impact on our own well-being and, you know, that ripple effect as well. One of the big aims we've been working on at Culture Northumberland since we established it in the pandemic is been around profile raising, because we recognise that we're not shouting about each other enough, you know. So some people have got like a natural flair with social media, or have taken courses and paid a lot of money to learn it. But for other people, you know, they might be quite introverted. Like you say, you've got that training around talking to camera and how that all can work, and kind of breaking down those barriers. But profile raising and raising each other up is, yeah, it's a massive aim here at Culture Northumberland. And I know that we've done some work towards supporting creatives in that, and there's lots more to do. And hearing you talk so passionately about all of those elements of the programme, I just think it's come at the best time. And I'm going to tag lots of people that I've been thinking about as you've been talking. I'll make sure that the links at the bottom of the video that people can click on to apply and read more about the programme's overview as well. But it's been so brilliant to talk to you today. I really appreciate you finding time to kind of jump on so that we could do this and make it really sort of energetic and vibrant for people, because there's a lot of black and white text out there, isn't there, to siphon through.
Yes, absolutely. And I think I really appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak, because I can write, I'm fine, but I always find it easier to articulate things through video. And what I would say, just to round up, is that my organisation's called Creative Heritage Studios CIC, and I want to do more of this work. I'm really passionate about it. I've got some very exciting projects coming up as well that I'll be sharing with people, but I'm on all Instagram, Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn. The funding is coming from Newcastle City Council and part funded by Newcastle University Business School, and the funding is through the CCZ, the Cultural Creative Zone in Newcastle upon Tyne. Okay, so and Thanks again also to Fiona Whitehurst and Joe Singh for all of their hard work on this. It's been great working with them again. So
yeah, it sounds
thanks
like
so
it's
much,
been
Claire.
a brilliant journey for you all. So there you go, everyone that's watching. Don't delay, get straight on the link, and you can apply, you can find out more. And I'd love to see lots of Northumberland based artists and lots of North East based artists as well. It's open wider than that. So thanks again, Corinne.